Page 38, talking about the different frictions. Sliding friction. So let's talk about that. Sliding friction, it's one of our vocab words, occurs when two solid surfaces slide over each other. Sliding friction is what makes moving objects slow down and stop. And without sliding friction, a penguin that slid down a hill wouldn't stop until he hit a wall. So looking at the picture, you want to classify, label 5 examples of sliding friction and compare them with a classmate. So feel free to look at all of the pictures around in page 38 and 39 and find 5 examples of a sliding friction, okay? Friction acts opposite the direction of the motion, so sliding motion of a penguin, and the friction slows it down. The next one is static friction. Static friction acts between objects that are not moving. Think about trying to push a couch across the room. If you can't push hard enough, it won't move. The force that's keeping you from moving it is called static friction. Once you push hard enough to overcome that friction, that static friction, the couch starts moving. And there is no more static friction. However, there is sliding friction. So classify and label 5 examples of static friction and compare them. Fluid friction. Fluids, such as water and air, are materials that flow easily. So fluid friction, that's one of our vocab words, occurs when a solid object moves through a fluid. So it can be moving through water or it can be moving through air. Fluid friction is easier to overcome than, say, sliding friction. This is why sidewalks become slippery when they get wet. So the fluid friction makes them slippery compared to when they are dry. Now classify 5 examples of a fluid friction. And finally, rolling friction. When an object rolls across the surface, rolling friction occurs. Rolling friction is much easier to overcome than sliding friction for similar materials. That's why it's easy to push a bike along the sidewalk when the wheels can turn, but much harder to push the bike if you're applying the brakes or the tire slides and not roll. List 5 examples of rolling friction that you see. Draw an arrow representing the friction force at work in this picture. Draw an arrow representing the friction force at work in this picture. And don't forget this one.